guys, this week I want to talk about learning to take care of yourself when you have been raised by abusive or toxic parents. So they didn't take care of you growing up, and so at some point you have to start to transform yourself. You have to start to take care of yourself. You have to start to learn to give yourself the things you never got, right? And it's easy to think, okay, well, all of that stuff was in my past and I can just move on. And the truth is you can't. You can't move on unless you heal those things and you give yourself the stuff you never got. So how do you do this? How do you learn to take care of yourself? How do you learn self-love? So I think that when I started this journey, if somebody had told me I had to learn to love myself, I'd say, well, I love myself. I don't have a problem with that. I didn't think that I had a problem with that, right? And I think that the definition and what real self-love is very different than what a lot of people just throw around out there. So a big part of that is taking care of yourself and learning to take care of yourself. See, when you are somebody that's an empath, or you have been raised to serve everybody else and do for everybody else around you and neglect yourself, at the expense of yourself, then you tend to continue to do this as an adult and in all of your relationships, and you don't take care of yourself. You end up not taking yourself to the doctor. You end up not taking, investing in your needs. Maybe you don't invest in your hobbies because you're like, oh, well, that costs money and I can't afford it. But at the same time, it's affecting your mental health, and so that you can't perform and live your life at your utmost, at your best. That was one thing I had to learn, was that it was okay for me to invest and pay for things that are around hobbies and things that would balance out my life, because I tend to be a little bit of a workaholic, and the way that I'm able to balance my life is to do hobbies. And so it's very important to do those things that don't necessarily produce anything for anyone, or don't necessarily have a super significant meaning, except for they're fun and they are very therapeutic for you to do. And so it's getting in touch with those things that really are going to help you in your life, and make sure you're going to the doctor. And I've talked about this before to a degree. So today I want to dive a little bit deeper into how you can love yourself even more. So number one, I'm going to say that if you have somebody in your life, whether it's children, family, a loved one, you're in a romantic relationship, whatever it is, you are in charge of your needs. That other person and those other people are not in charge of meeting your needs. Ever, right? And what I really mean by this is your childhood needs. And because if you're raised in a toxic environment, you tend to want to get those unmet needs met, because they didn't get met when they should have been met way back when. But now you can't get that from anyone else. You can only get it from yourself. So from a starting point, you are responsible for meeting all of your needs. Your financial needs, your emotional needs, your physical needs, all of your needs need to be met by you. You have to take responsibility for that, okay? And so if we get into a relationship where we're expecting anyone else to be taking care of us or doing the stuff for us, and that's why we're in a relationship, that's not a healthy relationship. It should start with you're taking care of yourself, and anything that they do then is a blessing to you. It's not that you require this. It's not that you demand this. It's not that you think that they owe it to you. And, relationships, when it comes to building healthy relationships, it's 100%. So if you're giving, and that person is not giving back to you in the way that you think they should, you still give. You still love them. Now, I understand that many of you have been in toxic relationships, and they, if you're with a narcissist, they're going to suck you dry, right? And you'll give until you're sucked dry. But hopefully, if you're in a healthy relationship, that's not going to happen. If you're with another healthy individual that's also very aware and self-aware and understands compassion and love and giving, you're not going to end up in that toxic type of give and take. So when you're in a relationship that's healthy and it's 100 and 100, you're both giving, it's not about keeping score. It's not about, oh, well, I did all these 10 things for you and you only did one thing for me. No, you're responsible for meeting your own needs. You're responsible to coming to that relationship already full of love, already full in your life. And I think that this is where a lot of people go wrong. They feel depressed, they feel sad, whatever, and they think, oh, I just need somebody in my life. That's the solution. I just need somebody else to give me what I don't have. And the thing is that everything that you're looking for is inside of you, right? Other people around you are just a blessing. If they give to you, they're a blessing. Whatever they do, it's a blessing. So that's the first part. The other thing is that I really want to mention here is as you go down this path and you begin to meet your own needs, you begin to put yourself first, so you're taken care of before you go and help other people. It's also very important that you understand it's not neglecting other people. So if you have children, and this has actually been situations where in the healing process, people have done this. So one woman, for example, she was really trying to grasp taking care of herself. So she really went out there, started really taking care of herself, but then she started neglecting her kids. She was taking care of herself, but not taking care of them. And that's not what I mean. So there's a balance here. We fill ourselves up so that we can care for others, right? So it's not we fill ourselves up so much that we're ignoring everyone around us. We fill ourselves up as much as we possibly can so that we can give to other people, right? So that's the key. That's the balance there. So if you find yourself, like the pendulum swinging, and you're trying to grasp this whole thing of taking care of yourself, and you find yourself neglecting other people, just remind yourself, okay, it's not about just being super into taking care of yourself and meeting all of your needs. It's filling yourself up so that I can give to the other people. And that's where I think, things like hobbies and things really are super important. Things that will take your mind off of the hustle, things that will balance out your life, exercising and doing all these other things. You start to bring balance to your life and you start to fill yourself up so that you can start to give to other people around you in new ways. And, if you are out there and you're learning new things and you're becoming a person of great depth, and you're, maybe reading books and you're trying new things and you're exploring life and you're willing to, grow as a human being, you're going to be far more of an interesting person for those that are around you to be able to connect with you. And they're also not going to feel that pressure that somehow they've got to make you happy and they've got to fulfill all of your needs or whatever it may be. And again, this is going to be around healthy relationships versus a toxic one. And then, as you continue down this path, it is a practice. Like I have to continually practice to be mindful, continually practice doing breathing exercises, remind myself to do them. Don't go a week without doing these things, Some of the things that I do in my routine, you've guys seen have my video on the Wim Hof, I love Wim Hof, and he does the cold showers. And I was raised, even by my dad would tell me do cold showers. He would always get into a bathtub and lay in ice because it builds up your immune system and it makes you resistant to diseases and all of this kind of stuff. And as I started to do the Wim Hof stuff, as you guys know, doing all the breathing exercises, my body became alkaline, and a lot of the stuff that I was dealing with left. And doing the cold showers, although I hate them, they do help. I'll just be in my shower, I'll take my shower, do my stuff, and then turn it on cold and stay in the cold as long as I possibly can. And it's not easy, but it works. And it also brings you into the present, which is another thing I want to talk about. When you have experienced all of this trauma in your life, and you are either going to be focusing so much on your past and everything that's happened to you, right? All of your memories, or your future, because you're trying to create this better future and you're trying to focus on the positive and what could be created. What is so important is that we learn to live in the present. We learn to be present. And some of these, breathing exercises and the priming meditation that I've shared with you that I have on my channel here, some of these things those are going to help bring you into the present. And as you begin to process trauma and you go through this whole process, you'll practice more and more being present in the now and living in your heart. Anytime you get in your head, you're what? dead, right? So we don't want to be in our head. We don't want to be in the past. We don't want to be in the future. We want to be in the now, in our heart. Okay? And so that's why I really like the priming meditation, because it brings you through that process of getting into your heart. Then when you're in your heart, you can make far better decisions than when you're in freak out mode. You're in survival mode. You're like, oh my gosh, you know, something happened and now I have to react. And instead of getting into that mode and trying to reach for things externally, shopping, eating, drugs, alcohol, relationships, all these things that are around us, you start to actually just dive deeper from inside and through what you're passionate and you love and all of this, and then you're able to, you know, direct your life based off of what is you know, your values, your goals, your true loves, all of that on the inside. And if we all do life in our heart, if we start to stay in our heart on a deeper level, even with those that we love, like when you start to get into this thing of, well, you did this and you didn't do this and you did this, and you start to make all these lists of, you know, things that someone didn't do in your life, to, you know, do in their relationship. If you get back in your heart, shut down all the lists, get back in your heart and just connect and choose to love, right? And again, talking about healthy relationships. I'm not talking about a toxic relationship. If you're in a toxic relationship, that's not going to work because they cannot connect emotionally. If you're in a healthy relationship with somebody, they're going to be open emotionally and you're both going to be able to connect at a heart level. So it's very important to begin to practice those things. And the deeper you are in investigating your emotions and why you feel things and processing your emotions, and instead of trying to medicate them, the more you're going to be able to hold those emotions for other people. If somebody else in your life is depressed, instead of trying to fix it, you can be there for them. You know, you can support them. And so it's very important for us to, you know, dive deep into our emotions and take care of ourselves. And the more we do these things for ourselves, the more we can do those things for other people. The more we're gonna know how to do things for other people. And I think that's been one of the biggest things that I've grown in my life is, you know, one of the transformations I've seen in my relationships is, you know, being raised by people that would shun me for my emotions, and I was not able to be emotional. You're too emotional. You're this, that, the other thing. Don't talk about your emotions. Don't talk about what you're going through. Don't ask for help. Don't, you know. And you get it in your mind that, oh my gosh, I have emotion, and I better not let anyone else see my emotion because this is the bad thing. And instead, giving myself compassion, not judging myself, holding that emotion in my heart. Even if it's about a shortcoming that I have, holding that shortcoming in my heart with compassion, amazing thing happens is that when you are with other people and you're building relationships with other people, they have a shortcoming, you can hold that shortcoming in your heart with compassion, right? And it's a practice. You have to practice it. The more you do it for yourself, the more you can do it for others. As you continue this relationship with yourself and learning to love yourself and learning to take care of yourself, remember that this is the process of self-love. This is the process that's going to reverse that codependency in your life. This is the process that will cause you not to be in toxic relationships, because what's going to happen is as you meet all your needs, you get full of love and you start to respect yourself more, and you start to feel like you know what you deserve in life. You know what you have to offer in life, and it's not based upon, you know, a neediness, if you will. And so you're not drawn to anything that's toxic because you're not overly needy. So guys, hopefully this video is helpful for you, and we'll see you next week.